everyone, I'm John Steinley. I'm the administrator here at Hiwan Homestead Museum. Hiwan Homestead is a 25-room log mansion. It was built between the 1880s and the 1940s. And we have 4 other amazing historic buildings that you can visit here, right here on the property. And then next door to us we have beautiful Heritage Grove, which is a magnificent pine grove of ponderosa pines. So it's a wonderful place to visit. This is owned by Jefferson County Open Space, and we operate through a partnership with Jefferson County Historical Society. This living room was the first part of the building to be constructed, and we think it was a hay barn that was built back in the 1880s. Then when the 2 ladies, Mary and her daughter Josepha, bought the property in 1893, they hired Jock Spence, the local carpenter, to turn this hay barn into a 1-room cabin where they could come up and stay in Evergreen. So we think that's how the whole building started out, as 1 room, and eventually expanded out to 25 rooms over the next 40 years or so. Starting in 1914, the Douglas family hired Jock Spence to build a whole new addition onto the original Camp Neosho building. So the dining room here was the first addition that he put on. And what we have in here is the original dining room table that he built for the room, and also these are the original dining room chairs that were in here. There are small paintings around the walls that are Navajo spirit figures that were used in healing ceremonies, and these were painted by Eric Douglas. Now you can follow me into the kitchen. The Douglases with their visitors from all around the world, and the Buchanans with their big family needed a nice big spacious kitchen to work in, and that's what they got here. So we have many things here that are reminiscent of what they would have had to cook with and have their food here during the 1930s. To preserve the food here in the kitchen, Jock Spence built in this ice box, and later on the Douglases put in a refrigerator unit. This room was Father Charles Douglas's study, and we use it now for an education room where we teach the kids about carding and spinning wool and the different ways you can use it in knitting and weaving to make garments and rugs and blankets and things like that, and how you can dye with natural materials. This is St. Joseph's Chapel, and Father Douglas would hold communion services here every morning at 7:30 for the family and friends. This was considered Jock Spence's masterpiece of construction here at Hiwan Homestead, with the incredible beams and the Gothic chapel here, the way he built it. It's truly an amazing piece of architecture. This was Dr. Jo's bedroom, and in here we have displayed her original medical certificate from 1889 that certified her to practice medicine as a doctor in Colorado. And we also have some interesting things in the fireplace. Hopi Indian tiles from New Mexico, which were made in the early 1900s, are set into the fireplace. And on the mantelpiece is a Cochiti Indian singer or storyteller figure. Hello students. Remember, boys sit on the right, girls sit on the left. This is our Centennial School room, and it's a duplicate of an 1800s mountain 1-room school that we built here to show people what it was like to go to school back in the 1800s. So when we bring the school children in here for their program, we pretend as if it's 1876, and we put them through their paces and their lessons as they would have been way back in the 1800s. This room's dedicated to Julia Douglas. She was Father Douglas's sister, and she had been a librarian back in Newark, New Jersey. And in 1917 she retired and moved out here to Evergreen, and she rented a little storefront, and that started up Evergreen's first library. Then a few years later, the Douglases hired Jock Spence to build a real library building for Julia, and that was the town library here for 50 years. And in there she had an amazing collection of dolls and other items from all around the world that we have here at the museum now on display. This is the Buchanan room. This was a bedroom in the home that we converted into a little shrine to the Buchanan family, and they were our second family here at Hiwan Homestead. They bought the location here in 1939, and they turned it into the Hiwan Ranch. Hiwan is an Anglo-Saxon word from England, and it means members of a family household or enough land to support a household. And they had the Hiwan Ranch here from 1939 till about the early 1950s, when they started to sell off the ranch land for housing, until by 1973, when the Buchanan's daughter, Joan, had inherited the property, and she sold what was left to a developer who eventually sold it to the county. And that's how it became a museum here at Hiwan Homestead.
Please, for just a minute.